Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Warriors star Jimmy Butler's defiant take amid Stephen Curry fatigue issue. On Monday night, the Golden State Warriors' 7-game winning streak came to an end at the hands of the Nikola Jokic-less Denver Nuggets, 114-105. The Warriors had all of their key guys except for Brandon Podziemski, and yet they couldn't extend their winning streak, unable to overcome a rough 6-21 shooting night from Stephen Curry, who also turned the ball over 7 times to further compound the Dubs' issues. This was a rather uncharacteristic off night from Curry, who's been playing excellent basketball especially after the Warriors brought in Jimmy Butler via trade. Head coach Steve Kerr said that this poor performance was the result of fatigue that piled up for the Warriors star. Nevertheless, for Butler, he feels like it's his and the rest of the Warriors squad's job to pick up the slack when Curry isn't at his best. It's okay to be tired. That's on myself and that's on us as a unit to pick up the slack for him, Butler said. As much as everybody wants to think that he's superhuman, he's not. He is our leader, and we must protect him at all times. That's on myself for sure. But everybody else has to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing to give him a break. For Butler, the Warriors' point of improvements moving forward is clear: they must clean up their execution so they don't put themselves on the back foot, reducing the burden on Curry's shoulders in the process. Make sure we don't turn the ball over. 1. Make sure we get a good shot on goal. Execute. Whenever you execute and get the ball where it needs to go, that's my job more than anybody's. And maybe Dre's. Then we make Steph's life easier, Butler added. The Warriors have always prided themselves on having quality depth, and the Jimmy Butler trade has restored so much balance to the team, allowing Steve Kerr to make the most out of the weapons they have at their disposal. At the end of the day, Stephen Curry is still the catalyst of this Warriors squad. They can only go as far as he can take them. But as the Dubs jockey for positioning in the Western Conference standings, Curry will require the help of everybody so they can avoid the play-in tournament altogether. And perhaps this test will come as soon as tomorrow, as Curry is facing the possibility of being given the night off in their Tuesday night game against the Milwaukee Bucks. Kerr slates awful Warriors as winning run-ins. Coach Steve Kerr said the Golden State Warriors were awful as their 7-game winning run came to an end against the Denver Nuggets in San Francisco. Aaron Gordon scored a season-high 38 points in a 105-114 win for the Nuggets, who were without star center Nikola Jokic. It is Gordon's highest points haul since joining the Nuggets from the Orlando Magic in 2021. We played poorly out of the gate and never found rhythm, and they played great, said Kerr. The right team won. We didn't deserve anything. We were awful. Russell Westbrook, the NBA's all-time leader in triple-doubles, secured his 203rd by scoring 12 points with 11 rebounds and 16 assists. Jimmy Butler III scored 23 points and Stephen Curry 20 in reply for the Warriors, who lost for just the second time in 14 matches. Denver remained 4th in the Western Conference, with Golden State occupying the final playoff place in 6th. The Los Angeles Lakers, still without the injured LeBron James, are just behind the Nuggets in 4th after beating the San Antonio Spurs 125-109. Austin Reeves top-scored with 30 points for the Lakers, with Luka Doncic adding 21 points with 9 rebounds and 14 assists. The Houston Rockets overturned a 25-point third-quarter deficit to beat the Philadelphia 76ers 144-137 in overtime and stay second in the Western Conference. The Minnesota Timberwolves also needed overtime to beat the Indiana Pacers 132-130, with Obi Toppin scoring 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. The New York Knicks won 116-95 against the Miami Heat to stay third in the East, while the Detroit Pistons are sixth after beating the New Orleans Pelicans 127-81. Warriors predicted to target $90 million breakout star in offseason. It's hard to gauge how the Golden State Warriors will attack the offseason following the Jimmy Butler trade that saved this season. Changes to the roster are still to be determined depending on how these Butler-infused Warriors finish the season. But this early, Bleacher Report's salary cap expert Eric Pincus predicted the Warriors will target Los Angeles Clippers breakout star Norman Powell. The 31-year-old Powell was the main beneficiary of Paul George's departure from the Clippers and the early season absence of Kawhi Leonard from injury. Powell is averaging a career-high 23.4 points this season as a full-time starter for the Clippers, who are trailing the Warriors by 2 games for the number 6 seed in the loaded Western Conference. The 10-year veteran was one of the biggest snubs in the NBA All-Star at San Francisco. His rise into becoming a prolific scorer this season is marked by his career-high 3.2 threes per game on 7.7 attempts. His high-volume three-point shooting and efficient 42.2% clip are attributes that could attract the Warriors in the offseason. Powell will enter the final year of his 5-year, $90 million contract next season that will pay him $20.5 million. According to Pincus, the Warriors' trade baits this offseason are Buddy Hield, $9.2 million, Brandon Podziemski, $3.2 million, and Jonathan Kuminga, sign-and-trade. The most significant decision the team has to make this offseason concerns Kuminga, who is expected to be well compensated as a restricted free agent. The team can keep him depending on his price, which may raise payroll as high as the second apron. Instead, the Warriors could execute a sign-and-trade to get value in return, with a second apron hard cap, Pincus wrote. If the Warriors and Kuminga could not agree to an extension again this summer, a sign-and-trade for Powell could become an option. Kuminga's return from a 32-game absence had mixed results. He was impressive in his first game back in the Warriors' 130-104 win over the Sacramento Kings on March 13 with 18 points on 7 of 10 shooting off the bench. "I love that my man came out there aggressive, putting the ball in the basket, high energy, jumping out the gym and dunking the basketball," Jimmy Butler said of Kuminga after their first game together. "I want him to be him to the best of his abilities, continually be great and help this squad achieve something special. It was just thinking when I come back I don't want to mess things up, I don't want to be the one," Kuminga told reporters after the win. "It's just being nervous. Until you're out there and you see everything is very easy." However, Kuminga's offense regressed in the next game, a testy 97-94 Warriors win over the New York Knicks on March 15 in a grinded-out game played with a playoff atmosphere. Against the Knicks, Kuminga scored 10 points but only shot 3-for-8 from the floor. He compensated for his shooting woes by dishing out 5 assists and grabbing 5 rebounds with 1 block. It's obvious, Kuminga was trying to fit in with the new-look Warriors who have found success without him since the arrival of Butler. But if he wants to get the $35 million annual salary average he sought in his failed extension talks with the Warriors last offseason, Kuminga should work on his consistency for the remainder of the season before he hits restricted free agency. And you fan? What do you think about Norman Powell's situation? Write to us in the comments.